Basically, every headline in the last day being about whether or not Elon Musk gave a Nazi salute or was it a Roman salute, it really doesn't matter because unless you understand the history of this moment, I think you're going to fail to really give any good idea of what a think piece is. So I'm going to give you 5 book recommendations for this moment that I think are like really insightful into how we should view exactly what's happening. The first one is by Mark Zuckerberg's sister, Donna Zuckerberg, Not All Dead White Men, Classics and Misogyny in the Digital Age. And then this is specifically how a lot of the online right has tried to emulate Roman culture as part of like the bringing up of what would be, let's just call it the Fourth Reich. I think in a historical sense, it's really important to understand the co-option of Roman and Greek iconography because I think this provides a great context between like the religious fervor of this extremely, let's just call it conservative movement from the 1930s and 40s. To read this book in college for a class on the interwar period of Germany, and it was extremely fascinating and also just so absolutely horrifying, the connections between Christianity and what was then the alt-right and is now just like coming back into culture. And those 2 books might be hard to find because they're both academic books that haven't been published recently, but this is a book that just came out last year that is, I think, genuinely like kind of essential for understanding the moment, and that's Wild Faith, How the Christian Right is Taking Over America by Talia Lavin. And this book is really an exploration of how nationalism is like brought up in the homes of American. It not only gives like the greater political context to this moment, but gives like the personal and the horrific idealizations that come about in people's homes and through the families. If you'd rather approach this from like a non-religious standpoint, I think Palo Alto, A History of California Capitalism in the World, gives exactly like the rise of the tech bro alt-right movement that we are living through right now. Like the fact that Zuckerberg and Musk are now some of the most modern proponents of the alt-right movements and how they are infecting and infesting and controlling culture, I think Palo Alto is like one of the best books to understand this. This one is a long read, but it is so fascinating. It's kind of funny, but it's like one of those things that will help really truly explain the world we're living in right now. If you want a book that just walks you through step by step how the average person, just like your average voter, can get swept up into the movements of nationalism, I think you should read They Thought They Were Free, The Germans 1933 through 45 by Milton Mayer. This is genuinely like one of the most foundational texts to understanding the rise of fascism that you could possibly read. I think in a political education, it's both important to look at like the figureheads of these movements, like Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, and kind of the philosophies behind them. But I also think it's like absolutely critical to look at the average person. That's why I think this book and Wild Faith are so incredibly important to see just how the average person could be subsumed by this ideology.